Jill, great to hear your voice and also that of Stephen Hendry and Neil Foulds. The old gang is back together in a fashion. I've got three joyous words for you. Snooker is back. 78 days after Judd Trump played the final shot before the lights were dimmed, the game is restored into all of our hearts. Many times in the commentary box I've been ecstatic, excited. Today I'm emotional. It's so great to have snooker back, and it's also great to be sitting next to Dominic Dale, twice a world ranking event winner.
Yes, good afternoon, Phil. Good afternoon, everybody. It is indeed, Phil. I must echo your sentiments. Wonderful to have snooker back on television live. Be interesting to see the performances of the players here. Could be full of variety, with players not being able to practice the normal amounts that they would be. But it's Judd Trump that gets this first frame, this first match underway.
Six world ranking titles already this season to his credit, Trump. Won the last two as well. He's on a run of 11 consecutive match wins. He's an overwhelming favourite to win this group. But the format suggests that the underdogs, well, they could come good.
Yes, particularly when the matches are played over just 4 frames. Anything can happen. Nobody really can say they've got any current form to go by. Stark contrast between these two players. David Grace from Leeds, rather solid all-round player. Judd Trump, of course, possesses this robust attacking style of play that thrills so many, even his fellow professionals, it has to be said. Just wonder what sort of form Judd will be in this year's event. I think Stephen in the studio alluded to the fact that he has been putting in a couple of hours each day, so I'm sure Judd's form will be there or thereabouts.
I can tell you the first ball of the tournament has been potted by Jack Jones over on table 2. He's up against Stuart Carrington. We'll keep you up to date with how that one's going. Oh, and here, Tom, normal service resumed.
Yes, superb long red there from Judd. I like his beard, if you can call it that. He just hasn't had a shave for 4 or 5 days. I think there's a few of us, though, Phil, that are rather looking forward to having a haircut.
First day in, maybe the table a little slower than Trump would expect, particularly off the cushions.
Yes, indeed, Phil. I had a look at the table this morning, actually, and rolled a few balls up and down, and it did seem a little sluggish. The cushions are playing very nice, however, and that's important to the players. The cushions are playing inconsistently. It can cause problems with cue ball control. And again, an excellent exhibition of Judd's cue ball control and cue power, easily screwing back the length of the table there for position on the red above the black. Just a little higher on the blue here, Judd, but probably not as high up the table as he'd like to have been. He'd like to have crashed that cue ball into the pack of reds and open them far and wide. That's a shot that Judd normally plays, but I think he's a little straight on the blue than he preferred to be. Yeah, just couldn't control it well enough. And I think that's going to be end of break. Now I wonder if Judd will try and free the black up here. He'll hate it, the fact that that red's just nestling next to it.
So much statistically points to a Trump success in this group. When you bear in mind he's never lost a single match to any of his 3 opponents today. Daniel Wells, Elliot Slessor, or indeed David Grace. Played Grace twice before, won both of them. And also, this tournament might seem new to many people, but it's been around on the calendar, the Championship League, since 2008. And no one's been more successful in this event than Trump. As he floats in another cracking red, although this time with no position attached. Yes, he's the only player to have won the Championship League 3 times.
Yes, he's very good, Judd Trump, at shorter format matches. Shorter format matches, easy to say. Yeah, he's just such an attacking player, Judd, and I think his style of play suits the shorter formats, in all honesty. Plays a very attacking game, takes his shots on. He's a very confident player, but he's so accomplished at break building. Now there's a red at the back of the pack there that will pot into the left corner, just needs to judge the pace of the cue ball. To be a little low on it, just to crash the cue ball through the pack of reds for position on the black, but he's on the red, but just a bit too straight, I feel. Needs an angle here on a colour to try and open the pack of reds up. And this looks about perfect.
Well, early signs. Rust. What rust? Cracking little start this, and if he plots this, which he should do, they're all there for him.
Yes, and plenty there for a century break, and what a start that would be to the Championship League for Judd Trump.
Well, talking of centuries, Dom, that's one of the great subplots of today, because he's made 97 this season so far. The record is 103 by Neil Robertson, and so Trump really does have that in his sights, and who knows, with a good performance today, he might reach his century of centuries right here.
Yeah, I remember interviewing Neil Robertson the moment he completed that 100th century, as he walked off stage, and it was something I didn't think could ever be achieved again, but well, how wrong I am, because I'm certain Judd Trump will eclipse that between now and the World Championships. Looking very smart there with his tie, lounge tie.
Well, we didn't expect that. It was a little bit awkward. He was stretching more than he would have liked, I suppose, but still, you don't expect him to miss that kind of ball. That's the kind of thing that happens when you are rusty.
Yes, it is, Phil, and I think from David Grace's point of view, this black from Judd, as we have another look at it, just came at the right time for him. He's right in amongst the balls here, with his first opportunity to get back into this first frame. 44 points adrift, though, so work to do. Only difficult red, however, is that one along the top cushion. Now, what sort of form is this young man in? We'll find out shortly.
This event is being shown around the world, and for David Grace, this match in particular, such a high-profile affair against Judd Trump, is a really big deal.
Yes, he dropped off the tour last year, regained his place via the Challenge Tour, so he won't be as match sharp as Judd Trump, of course, is. Get to the semi-finals of the UK Championships a few years ago. It's the best performance he's ever achieved in a ranking event, but hasn't really achieved a great deal, David Grace, not when you consider the ability that he does have.
Well, that was a low return for the chance he had. When Trump gives you chances, you need to take them.
Yes, he will be disappointed, David Grace, but he has played a good safety shot there. That will get Judd Trump thinking a little. As you can see, this right-hand half of the table is blocked off by the green and the pink. Could play off the side cushion and rest on the red that's near this top cushion, because the black is blocking the left-hand corner pocket. But he needs to judge this well, because if he comes the wrong side of the red, it'll be on. A bit of a practice run, just making sure to leave the cue ball on the right hand side of the red, so not to leave a pot on, but there could be a attempt on here for David Grace into the left centre. Personally though, I think I'd have the cue ball replaced. Oh, he's taking it on.
That's a confidence booster, really well cued, and again a really good opportunity. As you can see, not much pocket to aim for there, and these middle pockets are cut brutally, as we know, on these match tables.
And potting this next red to the left centre will open up the pink. There's a good chance here for David Grace. Just a little straighter on that pink than intended. Couldn't quite force a cue ball across to leave this red as easy as he'd like to have done, but shouldn't be a problem.
Not the best there, Dom.
No, I was about to say it's imperative that he got top side of the black, and he hasn't done. He's misjudged the rebound there from the top cushion, so having to play the more difficult pink. It's the only way he can get back onto this remaining red. Oh, that's another great shot from David Grace. Now he needs his cue ball to slow up. Hasn't really. I don't think he's hindered too much by the black if he wants to take the pot on, but it's a thin one and very missable. Had to be deadly accurate with that pot at the pace that he played it. Now does he take the red on? It's a frame winner if it goes in. I think he's playing the snooker though. Indeed.
Just a little tentative with that one. Most certainly didn't want to hit the blue with the red. And Trump, with one red remaining, remains 5 in front. I think he's got away there because he could easily have been in a very tough snooker.
And this is a facet of Judd Trump's play that has improved significantly in recent years. The tactical side of the game. As good as anybody these days, Judd Trump, in that department. Now can David Grace cross double this red to try and leave it behind the black spot area. Oh, he's played it pretty well.
We can't say the same about the world champion. In these sprint matches, getting off to a fast start is imperative. And after that, David Grace is a heavy favourite to lead 1-0 if this cue ball stops. Still work to do.
There's a half-ball cannon on the green, would have been ideal for David Grace. I suppose he could chip the blue into the left centre, but it's a thin one. Oh, not quite. And unfortunately for David Grace, I think he judged the pace of the cue ball to perfection. As he left the yellow on for Judd Trump, I feel that he has done. Judd get through to the green. Oh, and he just...
As he walked round the table there after potting that yellow, I tell you what, his heart was in his mouth. He thought he'd made a mistake there. Just about had the passageway through to the green. And now the blue is frame ball. Well, no position on the pink. Still pots, of course, but much tougher than he wanted it. And with only 18 points dividing the two players, Grace will come back if he gets the chance to do so. I should have had more faith. Judd Trump potting a really nice ball at the end of that frame. Okay, he made the odd mistake there, but he wasn't punished for it. And Judd Trump, the man of the moment, the man of the season, takes the first frame in this Championship League. He leads David Grace by a frame to 0. Welcome back to the Marshall Arena in Milton Keynes. The Championship League is underway. Professional snooker once again is underway. And Judd Trump has taken a 1-0 lead over David Grace. Here's frame number 2. Grace badly needs to respond. We've course, the only way you can win this match now is to win the remaining 3 frames. That's a tall order against anyone, let alone against a certain Judd Trump.
Yeah, the thing is, when you play Judd Trump, if he does miss a couple, you do tend to be given opportunities, so it is up to David Grace to take them when they come along. But if he starts knocking in that type of shot, Judd Trump, then he's always difficult to beat. He's got a good angle here on the black as well, just to stun into the pack of reds and hold for choice of others. That was a very confident pot. And judged that cannon beautifully. What an opportunity here Judd has given himself.
Now, was that a bad contact? It certainly sounded that way. Very unusual reaction. Yeah, I'm not surprised that our referee Ben Williams is being asked to clean the cue ball. That was a good old-fashioned kick.
Yes, I thought it must have been a kick. Judd certainly didn't expect this cue ball to make contact with the black. Had it not done so, he'd been better on it. Can still cut it in, but it's a very risky cutback now. Very missable.
I'll tell you what though, Dominic, the last 11 weeks or so have put an awful lot into perspective, haven't they? And having a moan about a kick seems totally insignificant.
Yes, it does really, doesn't it? One of the least important things going on in Judd's life of late, I'm certain. Rather lengthy hairstyles on show, I think. I don't think I've ever seen Judd's hair quite this long. Now he's a little short of pace here with the cue ball, so not in ideal position. Cut back to right centre. Red on into the left-hand corner, sharing a joke there, I think, with referee Ben Williams, who's officiating here.
Yeah, I don't think the players are quite used to having to use their own collection of rests yet, because this is completely out of their comfort zone.
Yeah, and of course, normally the referee will pass you the rest. But of course, that can't happen under the current restrictions. That's just misjudges that cannon there to the black.
There was a pro on the circuit in the 80s and 90s called Nigel Gilbert. He used to carry around his own rest with a plastic white head, and he also actually wore a glove, so he'd have been ideal for this situation.
Yes, I remember that very well. He used to have the rest attached to his cue case via a couple of Jubilee clips, if I remember correctly.
Yes, he was a good player as well. He ran Ronnie O'Sullivan close, I recall, in the UK Championship when all the matches in that tournament were the best of 17.
So a lot of good players back in the day that we've long forgotten. He actually featured on a programme, a documentary with Chris Searle called In at the Deep End. Who remembers that, I wonder?
Well, I do, Dom, and it wasn't him, it was David Gilbert.
Was it really?
It was indeed.
Goodness me.
English Amateur Championship, Chris Searle was thrown into it. Complete amateur, of course. The man who used to be on That's Life with Esther Ranson, and
yeah,
he was trained up by Jack Carnham to try and do as best he could, and of course against Dave Gilbert, who was a very good player from Hornchurch in Essex, he got absolutely no chance and got wiped 4-0.
Ah, it was Dave Gilbert, of course. Yes, I stand corrected. Thank you, Phil. Yes, Chris Searle, though, not built to play snooker. 6'5".
I think we're guilty of digressing there as Grace gets yet another chance. Just needs to start feeling his feet. He's potted some nice balls, but you need more than that against Trump. You need consistency, sustained excellence, and that doesn't fall into the excellent category, I'm afraid.
Well, this is the sort of pressure that Judd Trump does impose upon you. He's such a dangerous player, Judd Trump, and you put pressure on yourself sometimes. You know that you must score heavily when you get given opportunities by Judd Trump, because if you don't, you know he will. And that's the pressure that world number one's put on you, I'm afraid, in any sport, not just snooker. As we have another look at the mistake from David Grace.
Yes, and that opened up an old wound, because of course it was cutting the blue to the middle pocket in the opening frame that cost him that.
Not an ideal break building opportunity for Judd, this, with both pink and black being out of commission. So lots of work to do positionally, and certainly a lot of work to do here, because he's rather straight on the yellow, so playing the brown instead.
First frame on the board on the other table. Group 13 it is, and Stuart Carrington has drawn first blood against Jack Jones. Scrappy affair it was, but the man from Grimsby off to the better start.
Oh, he's perfect here on the brown Judd Trump. There's a gap between green and blue to take the cue ball off the side cushion and into the reds. Oh, he's played it off two cushions instead, but didn't have a lot of pace on it, that cue ball, and that's the reason he hasn't really finished on anything.
15.
Unless there's a speculative plant to the left centre, he's on nothing.
He's a boy, isn't he? What a shot again. Plenty of distance between those two balls going into the middle pocket. And now he should be off and running.
Once again, no obvious loose red to play for. The red's the right of the pink. He could get onto it, but wouldn't have a good angle on it, so would have liked to have gone into that little group of five reds, but couldn't do because it was too straight on the brown. Did his best, however. Now, is this touching ball? Will certainly help Judd if it is.
Well, numerically not dissimilar to the lead he had at one point in the first frame, but in reality a much stronger position for Trump because of the awkwardness of the green and the black. Tough for Grace to counter-attack, especially in one visit.
Played the right shot there, David Grace, opening the remaining five reds up, tried to get the cue ball in behind the green. It was a good effort. Took the red on, it was a very good effort. Fortunately though, the pink has now gone safe, so David Grace's chances of winning this second frame and levelling this match are further diminished because of it.
pot coming up. Without touching the sides, Dom. Now then.
Yes, that was an excellent pot from David Grace because of the pace that he had to play it in order to get back onto his next red. But as you can see, the black ball now, having been respotted, is tied up, but he's lovely on this red above it. Can knock the other red away. Free the black up again entirely, and that's a good shot, but can't hold for red without going in and out of bulk here, so a lot of work to do positionally. He's got to avoid cannons on green, blue and pink. He'll really do well here to get back onto a red. That's a good effort. Can't really take either of the two reds onto the right of the black now because it doesn't offer him a chance to play with any degree of safety. It has to be said, this safety isn't going to be easy. Needs that red to slow down. And it's definitely on for Judd. But in order to gain position, can't play it with a great deal of pace.
Not surprised he missed that. To the untrained eye, it might have seemed relatively routine. It was anything but a really horrible shot to have to play. Well, he's knocking in some nice balls, is David Grace. He just can't seem to put anything together in a substantial way.
Absolutely right, Phil. And this is where you can sort of overthink things slightly. He needs to get back into the frame. He's still 29 points adrift, so he'll try and bring a green into play and try and snooker Judd trump in the process. Sometimes, though, you can think of too many things and choose the wrong option, but I'll tell you what, he's played that well. That definitely is a snooker.
And Grace has his reward. Couldn't really legislate there what was going to happen with the two reds. And the Yorkshireman had a choice of both.
Yes, and now the only difficult ball on the table is the pink, but with the blue in close proximity to it. To get that far, would have the chance to bring it into play. There's a lot of work to do before that. Still 24 points behind, but can get right back into this frame from here, if not even win it. Just struggling to get the right angle on colours here, David Grace. Once again, he's just a little straight on the black. I think he's just top side of it, so can force the cue ball around the angles of this left-hand corner pocket. Try and get that cue ball up towards where the green is, for position on the yellow. Just doesn't want to snooker himself behind the green. Oh, I think he has. A little unfortunate, but I have to be rather harsh and say that he wasn't really on the black ideally anyway.
Well, he hit the yellow, but the hope of leaving it safe wasn't there. So Judd Trump now 18 in front. He needs green and brown. And the position of the pink is taking some of the pressure off here. Where's the cue ball though? Oof, lucky. Frame still alive. 22 points on the table. Trump's lead 21.
Goodness me, that could have thrown an entirely different light on the outcome of this second frame had that cue ball gone in. It was an inch away from doing so. And that brown would have been a sitter for David Grace with the cue ball in hand. As it is, he's faced with a rather difficult safety shot now, especially knowing that Judd only requires the brown.
The other thing to bear in mind is that while the pink is awkward, even if he can't get it out, it might be well placed for a possible double, Grace, so he's certainly not out of this yet. And that was a little loose.
Yeah, he just misjudged the slide of the cushion rail there. Judd didn't expect to bring the blue into play the way he has, but got away with this a little bit. Now I wonder if David Grace will play the brown into the black here to use the black as a stopper. Try and leave that brown by the black spot. And in effect in a safe position. He's going to play an alternative shot. Play the brown into bulk. Oh, he's trying to cut it in. Well, that was putting all his eggs in one basket. It was a good effort, wasn't far away. But this is a horrible shot for Judd Trump because although the brown looks eminently potable, if it's dead straight, the in-off's on. Yeah, he's not happy with it. As you can see, he's absolutely dead straight on this brown. Sometimes you just have to pot the ball, play with a little bit of pace, and hope that you don't pot the brown dead centre. Oh, he's rolling it in, I can't believe it. Oh, what a shot. My goodness, Phil, you have to judge the table and hope that it doesn't run off.
Well, that was classy. It really was. Of all the shots he plays with power, that was delicacy. The length of the table, on frame ball to boot. Excellent. And now the blue has gone in as well. That's it. Trump doubles the advantage. No fireworks, but just the start he would have wanted. Three snookers required by David Grace, fighting a losing cause, and so Judd Trump doubles the lead. 2-0 against David Grace. Hello, Neil. How are you? Can you hear me, Neil? Hello, David. Can you hear me? Hello, David. Hello, David. Can you hear me? Hello, David. Yes, speaking. hear them, but they can't hear me. Welcome back, everyone. 2 frames in the books. Both of them have gone to Judd Trump, the man of the season so far. He's had a wonderful campaign. There's a man sitting to my right-hand side who's had a pretty wonderful career, Dominic Dale, with a couple of ranking titles to his credit. And Dominic, although it's not been scintillating stuff yet, just the way that it's gone suggests that Judd Trump has got his head down and he wants this.
Yes, Judd, when he comes to any event, tends to be in good shape with his game. I haven't seen any signs that Judd is lessening his degree of attacking style. Still going for the same shots that we were accustomed to seeing him play. Still making the odd mistake, Judd Trump, but he's not being punished for them, and that's going to make it even harder for David Grace now. Best he can hope for now is a 2-all draw and to gain a point, which, as you said earlier, Phil, doesn't do either player much good. But if Judd were to win this frame, I don't think they'll be playing the 4th. That'll be a win for Judd Trump, 3-0.
His second plant to a middle pocket. I think it was very illuminating when Trump won the Players' Championship on ITV, what seems like a lifetime ago now, up in Southport. He said, the more I win, the more I want to win. Look at that yellow there, beautifully cued. He's like all of the great champions, and I use the word great advisedly. He's got a hunger for success that can't be assuaged.
Yes, I have a terrific respect for people that put the hours in on the practice table, 5, 6, 7 hours a day that Judd does. And it's not surprising with the ability and talent that he has that he's getting all the rewards. Current world champion, current world number 1. Easily the player that everybody has to try and beat these days. And he's a wonderful player for the sport in general. With this style of play, makes the game very attractive to watch. Once again though, the black is tied up. Judd's very clever. He tries to think of ways, how can I get that black into play? When can I do it? From what red? He never stops thinking, Judd Trump, but for now he's definitely going to have to concentrate on pink, blue and bulk colours.
Let me give you a quick score update from the other table. Good start for Stuart Carrington, who now leads Jack Jones 2-0. He won the second frame thanks to a 62 break.
See referee Ben Williams there in the background, just keeping an eye on Judd's sleeve. Wasn't fouling the red that he's bridging over. Very good shape here, Judd. Sometimes you have to accept that a colour's out of commission, in this case the black, and it may have to remain out of commission. Pink still in open play. You wouldn't want to take a risk trying to bring the black into play, only to fall out of position. Easy win. Frame a match here just by concentrating on the pink and the blue. Now, he could play to remove the red away from the black here, Judd, but I'm sure he won't do. Oh, he's missed the red. Well, Just possibly a lapse of concentration for Judd. Of course, these players haven't played matches for so long. It takes a while just to get into that frame of mind. He just played that one, or took it rather for granted. A real let-off there for David Grace.
I'm just wondering whether this match is going to be similar to when they met each other in the 2014 Wuxi Classic in China, the last 64. Trump won that match 5-1 on paper very convincingly, and yet he didn't make a half-century break. Similar looking contest so far.
Once again, he's dropped out of position, David Grace, early on. Trying to just develop a few reds, but he's made things more difficult for himself at the moment because the pink's now out of commission a little. Black's still tied up. And this time Judd, I wouldn't say he's going to close up shop entirely, but I don't think he'll be taking any unnecessary risks now. Fully in command of this match.
Yes, Neil Foulds made a great point at the start of the programme that if these players can record a 3-0 win in their first outing, you're sitting pretty already.
David Grace bringing the pink into play there, but I'm rather surprised he didn't try and bring the black into play by playing a safety shot off the red next to it. But there's still time for the black to be developed during the course of this frame. Knows that one more mistake now could be his last, so has to be careful where these reds finish. He won't be happy with that. Chance for Judd here. One good pot required.
Not perfectly held, but pretty good. I thought for one moment there the pink was wobbling towards the near jaw, and just towards the pocket it seemed to straighten up, which was very much to Trump's advantage.
Yes, I was watching this one with both eyes. It just had a semblance of a drift towards that bottom jaw, but it held its true course. The table fitter was rather nervous watching that one. So, lead now 39 points for Judd Trump. I think he'll be very disappointed
14.
if he doesn't win frame and match with this opportunity.
And if he does, it would be his 12th consecutive match win. He won 4 matches to capture the Players' Championship title, and then went to Gibraltar and won that. Winning 7 matches down there. Overcoming Kyron Wilson behind closed doors, 4-3 in a memorable final.
Yeah, absolutely, Phil. It's an extraordinary event, the Gibraltar Open this season, because a lot of players had to referee their own matches because of a shortage of referees due to illness and various other ailments.
27.
Looking strong now though, Judd Trump. Just this blue and one more red required.
Well, David Grace is currently the world number 85. Judd Trump is the world number 1, head and shoulders above the rest. And that disparity in their ranking has been shown in these 3 frames. Basically, Trump has done Grace no favours. For fans of Judd Trump, of which there are many, I can tell you he's involved in 2 matches this evening. Starts off the evening session against Elliot Slesser, and then finishes off tonight against Daniel Wells.
46.
And talking about Wells and Slesser, they're the 2 players involved in our next contest here on table 1,
47.
which is coming up shortly, because you can put a fork in this one, it's done. Not quite a breeze for Judd Trump. There were mistakes, but David Grace didn't take advantage of his chances, and consequently Judd Trump has made the ideal start to this Matchroom Live Championship League. He wins his first group match by 3 frames to 0.